Alright everyone, I've been playing Grand Cross Global for about 6 months now, and in that time I have farmed quite a bit of gold, but I've also wasted a good amount as well. And today what I wanted to do is go through 5 big mistakes that I've made that ended up costing me gold. And let's start off here with number 1 on the list, and this is a really big one that I made earlier on in the game that I still regret, and that is when it comes to my gear. What I ended up doing is I made too many common gear sets instead of really focusing more on the rare ones, which would last me a while longer. Now, the thing with these gear sets here is that the commons, the uncommons, and the rares, you're going to be able to reroll your bonus stats with gold. Anything after that, which is going to be your super rare and your super rare, so your SRs and SSRs, you can no longer reroll them with gold. At that point, you have to use anvils or gems. So what you want to do is when you're newer to the game, of course, it makes sense for you to make gear sets that don't require anvils or gems because those are resources that you're not going to have. But what I did is I made way too many of the common ones, and I didn't really focus on the rare ones, knowing that those would be the ones that I'd probably keep for a while longer. The thing is, I outgrew the common ones really quickly, and that was just a lot of gold early on that I invested in those that I didn't really need as much anymore. Now, there's nothing wrong with making a couple of common gear sets, but you will end up outgrowing them, and if you don't have the anvils to work on the SSRs, you never want to work on the SRs, that's a big mistake all on its own, then I would highly recommend going for the rares, because that is the last rarity that you're going to be able to reroll your bonus stats with gold. But you're also going to end up keeping them for a little while before you end up upgrading that gear to your SSRs. So that's number 1 right there. Now, number 2, let's actually head over to a village here because I want to show you a vendor. And this is a really big mistake that I, as well as many other people, ended up making. And it hurts to think about this now, considering that I'm at the point in the game where I now vendor these for the sell gold instead of thinking about the amount of gold that it costs to buy them. And they sell for way, way less gold than what you buy them for. And that is the mistake of spending gold on chalices. Now, you can end up getting a discount from the village. So it's not 100,000. You can actually get it all the way down to 60,000 for the 4-star ones, 20% for the village donation, and then 20% for the deathmatch bonus. They've also got the 3-star ones here for 12,000. So you can get that down by 8,000 compared to what you see right there. But either way, this is something that I would highly, highly avoid. The only time I would ever consider even thinking about this is maybe for your very first units, if you really need to awaken them. But even then, I would try to have the patience to not spend the gold on chalices because you're going to end up getting so many more of these as you continuously play the game, and it's not worth it. The gold, you can spend so many other useful ways on your account. So I would resist the temptation if possible. Alright, now another thing too is kind of like a bonus. This isn't included in the list of 5 here, but I would also avoid buying the actual food. Now, the materials are fine, but the food itself for 10,000 each, even though you can get that down to 6,000 for that 40% discount, the thing is the materials only cost 1,500 gold each, and then 3 of these materials here for 1,500 gold each are going to make a minimum of at least 3 foods, sometimes even 4 or 5 with the super and ultra success. So you're looking at spending way, way more if you buy the food outright instead of just the materials, so it really isn't worth it. It's just for the convenience there, and it's another way to waste gold that I don't really recommend. Alright, now that we're actually still here at the village, another big mistake that I've made, and they actually changed this a little bit since the game released, and that is the old Veronica buff, which is now not necessarily the Veronica buff because you don't have to go to her anymore to get it. It's automatic once you end up getting to a certain point through the story. But when you end up selling stuff in these tabs here, the equipment, ingredients, cooking, or miscellaneous, you want to make sure that you end up going to a vendor that has this 20% sell icon, and you want to make sure that you end up getting the bonus for this right here. Now, I'm not going to sell this right here, but you could see that normally these would end up selling for 12,000 each. With that 20%, it's going to be 14,400. And this applies to your treasure chests and all that sort of stuff as well. So if you don't end up selling this, for the 20% bonus, you're essentially just wasting gold by not getting extra that you could. So I did that a lot earlier on. Definitely wasted at least hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of gold that I could have gotten if I actually did it properly. Good news is you don't have to go to Veronica for that buff anymore. Alright, another really big one, and I'm going to head back to the tavern for this one here. This is something that I'm actually doing quite a bit of right now because of the event, but something that I highly recommend you don't go too overboard on when we do not have an event is the equipment draw or the gear gacha. Now, this is always here. It's always 200,000 gold for an 11 times multi. But the thing is, because the price is always the same, if we have an event active that's giving you a bonus to this like we do right now, where you have double the chances of getting anything in the SSR pool, or if you have a salvage event, which means you're going to get extra awakening stones from salvaging, then you get more value out of your summons by waiting and saving your gold for when the events are active, compared to doing a bunch of gear gacha draws when the event is not around. So it's not too bad. You know, if you need the materials or you really need something out of it, it's totally fine to do some pulls outside of an event. But what you really want to do is you want to save a bunch of gold for when the events roll around, because that's when you're getting that really big bonus and all that value for the gold that you do spend. So I definitely did too many gear gacha draws before I really knew how good these events actually are. And the very last thing that I want to mention here has to do with gold food. And a huge mistake that I made, and I actually am still not the best about it. I've definitely gotten better about it, but especially when it comes to things like boss battles, and if you're farming them for an extended period of time, you absolutely want to make sure that you are using gold food. Now, I'm just going to do one run here with a skip ticket just so you guys can see. Skip tickets are not going to activate gold food. So this is the base gold that you end up getting from one of these runs right here. And you can see that the base gold is 6,000. Now, what that means is that using a gold food is going to boost the amount of gold that you get from 6,000 to 12,000. And that is a huge value for the gold food that you use. So, you know, when there's half stamina for free quests, and when you can get a chance to farming the materials in order to make your gold food. I'm actually completely out of it right now, but you will end up getting a whole lot of extra gold per hour when it comes to things like boss battles. And what you want to do generally is not use gold food on absolutely everything, but what you want to do is use it whenever you run through a piece of content that has a high amount of base gold. Like I just showed you right there, boss battles have a base gold of 6,000. And because you end up getting 100% bonus when you use gold food, you're going to go from 6,000 to 12,000 gold. So that's an extra 6,000 gold that you get per run. And that really adds up to be a big deal. Now, you don't have to use it on things like Fort Solgris, because Fort Solgris only has a base gold of 2,400, so you don't get as much value out of it. But getting into the habit of having a good stockpile of gold food, unlike me right now, I'm being very bad about this, but having a good stockpile and using it when you farm things like boss battles is really going to make your account more powerful by having more gold and allowing you to use that to boost your account in whatever way that is, whether it's working on your heroes, working on your gear, or saving it up for the gear gacha. And I know some of these things weren't technically wasting gold directly themselves, but they are opportunities that prevented you from earning gold, which is going to prevent you from working on your account to its fullest potential. So all in all, though, there's so many other really bad things that I've done and mistakes that I've made that have cost me many millions of gold, but I wanted to leave it here for this video for now. So I hope that you guys enjoyed and that you can learn from this. And if you did and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Feel free to toss a quick like as well. It really does mean more than you can imagine. So thank you so much to all of you who decide to do that. Over 10,000 subscribers on the channel now. And more Grand Cross Global videos should be popping up on the screen right about now, or on the suggested videos to your right or below. Feel free to check them out. But if not, until next time, take care everyone, have a great day, and this is Salt with the Salty Guild, signing out.